I have a question for you. How old is too old to be playing video games? Well, today I wanted to take a look at an old clip that came over from Dexerto because I don't know why, but they posted this old clip that went viral a little while ago by Summit1G. I'm not familiar with the creator personally, but it was when some teammate in a game, in a fill that he was doing, was saying that he was too old to play video games, and he had the perfect snap back to it. So today I wanted to take a look at that. I wanted to talk about it. I'm going to take a look at some of the top replies to get a gauge on how people are feeling about this, and as always, I'd love to know what you think about it down below afterwards. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I am your guy with too many YouTube channels. Guys, let's check out this initial post over from Dexerto. Summit1G Cook's teammate saying he's too old to play video games. Let's watch it together.
It's not like you're 40 years old and playing this game still. So.
Well, I mean, what game do you think you're going to be playing when you're 40? What do you think you're going to stop playing games? What's the age? What's the cutoff age?
And oftentimes he'll just stop when it comes to when you ask him that question, right? Because it doesn't make sense for people to just go, hey, you're too old to be playing video games. It's like, hey, you're too old to be watching Netflix. Hey, aren't you too young to be doing this? Aren't you too old to be doing this? The answer is oftentimes no.
When you're out of high school and college?
Why though? Why? Why when you're out of high school and college? Do you not have any responsibilities? And I believe actually that's what he gets into. I haven't seen this clip in a long time.
You're a high school kid?
Yeah, I'm in high school. Yeah.
How old are you?
Why does it matter?
Well, I mean, you foresee yourself in the future quitting something you love, like video games? Do you not love video games? You just cruising through it?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of a waste of time when you're that old.
But you can take a look at anything really and dissect it as a waste of time. Like people look at things like, I personally love baseball and golf. People can look at that as, oh, you're throwing a ball in a net and you're hitting a ball as far as you possibly can. Isn't that a little bit of a waste of time? And you could argue, yes, it's more active than playing video games, but the same principle still applies.
Well, how do you know? You're not old yet. I mean, I can think of probably reasons that video games would be a waste of time for a high school kid too. Do you have a 4.0? Are you in honor classes to get more than a 4.0?
The guy says yes.
No, but
you know what I'm saying? It's like there's more things you could be doing to improve your life than playing video games too, right?
Yeah, and it's important to note that I'm not sitting here and arguing that video games is healthy for you, obviously, but in the grand scheme of things, like, it's no big deal. And what I do is, at this point in my life, and you know what, I'll let him finish this.
Yeah, you can study and not playing games.
Hey, just recreation, man. Having fun. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
All right, then.
Yeah, I agree with that. And the guy is obviously, he seems a little bit, I don't know, immature. He was trying to talk trash, but that's what you do on video games, talk trash a little bit, but he just ended up getting cooked. Like, there's nothing wrong with what I'm doing with my life personally. I have my responsibilities taken care of. I personally, with everything that I'm doing online combined, I would say that I'm working 3 jobs in combination of like all the work that I'm doing over here. And I have my responsibilities taken care of. I spend time with my family. I take the dog out. I make sure the house chores are done. Like, I make sure my life is completely in set. And then if I were to go online at night, which I do maybe between 1 and 3 times a week and play some games, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing. Is there better things that I could be doing with my time? Can I make another YouTube video? And if anybody's watching this channel, I have 2 monetized channels. Could I be making a really, really banger video in those times that I'm playing games in order to get a little bit more money? Yeah, I could. Could I be, I don't know, just spent like doing an activity with my wife? I could, but I have my responsibilities taken care of. And it's not to say like it is a responsibility, but I know that just sounded like going with my wife, but I do spend time with my wife. There's nothing wrong with sitting back and playing games for a little bit. And I took a deep dive into this in one of my other channels. If you guys are interested, I have a video. It can be in the link in the description down below for a Fortnite channel, and I dive into the issue of like dating and playing games. One of the really big problems is, and this is what I ended up touching on in the video, one of the biggest problems with this entire thing is my age is kind of the first, and maybe a little bit older, the first generation that's really growing old with video games. So society perceives video games and gaming as things that are just meant for children, which, you know, kind of makes sense because that's all who played it back in the day was children. But now those people are growing up. It's like saying like I drew it to golf earlier. Should there just be a cutoff age where I don't play golf anymore because it's a waste of time? I'm just hitting a ball. I'm hitting it as far as I can. Something along those lines. You can apply that to literally anything. Hey, aren't you a little too old to be like watching a Thor movie? Like, when's the cutoff age? There's nothing wrong with that. But it's not just what I think over here, guys. Let's take a look at what some people on the top replies had to say about this. And I wish we could take a look at this when it went mega viral, because this thing took over the internet when it was first coming out, okay? If he has fans and viewers who are happy with his work and stream, what does that matter that he's 40 years old? Simple, effective, to the point, especially if a streamer could be making money from this. I'm not familiar with Summit, but I'm sure he does make a profit from it. Let's continue on to, you're never too old to play video games. This is something that we see all the time in the comments. I agree with that. And Lego, there you go. Lego, on the other hand, I don't even think there's anything wrong with building Lego. As long as you're aging, as you're growing up, you have your responsibilities taken care of, you have a job, you're actively pursuing a relationship or in a relationship, you should have your life settled outside of this, and then you have time for fun things. You ever hear about those guys that never grow up and just play games all day? Yes, absolutely. There's something wrong with that, and those people should be shamed. The people who are legitimately addicted to video games, the people who legitimately can't put the controller down and just spend all of their time ignoring life and ignoring responsibilities and just getting old but continuing to play the games. Those people absolutely are too old to be just messing around doing nothing like they're 10 years old. That criticism I understand, but for normal people, especially streamers who may be making money, it's a different conversation completely. Grislow had this to say: the amount of times I've heard you're a middle-aged man playing games is crazy. That's how you know someone's argument or input is invalid. When they turn to personal attacks, they're cooked anyways. It just doesn't make sense, man. And you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? If I were to go to work, and I've talked about this on a couple times on stream, if I were to go to work, because I also have a day job, and I talked about how I play Fortnite. For those of you who are just coming to this channel, I have a Fortnite channel. I go and I play Fortnite and make some money from it. They would just completely ignore the fact that I make some money from it and just look down on me for, one, playing a kid's game, two, playing video games in general because they're kids. And I work with people that are infinitely older than me. The vast majority of people that I work with are kind of middle-age-ish. For context, I'm 26 years old. So could you imagine how they would look down on me for that? I know for a fact they'd be looking down on me. It's crazy. And it doesn't make sense. It makes sense as to why people don't make sense. Because, again, society was conditioned to believe, and not even necessarily conditioned, they believed for a long time that video games are for children because old people didn't get into it. Kids were, for a long time, were the only ones playing games, but that's changing. Society is changing. You want to watch Netflix, and you know what's crazy to me too? The same people who will constantly criticize you for playing video games and wasting your time are the same people that have absolutely no issue binging Better Call Saul all 6 seasons within 3 days and snacking out, pigging out. At least, you know what? At least I'm socializing. At least I'm using my brain. I'm not shutting it off, stuffing my mouth, sitting down doing absolutely nothing but doing this. You know, it doesn't make any sense to me. The hypocrisy is insane. But let's take a look at another reply over here. Old clip, but it's also funny how this guy's cooking someone for playing video games while he's casually sitting at 21K subs, earning a minimum of 10.5K that month. If that's the case, that's actually wild. But it's totally true. Like, and people will always find a way to hate on anybody successful. You know the old saying, misery loves company, right? Any normal person with a functioning brain wouldn't criticize somebody for playing video games. Everything's done in moderation. There are things that are done in moderation that have that argument that shouldn't be done in moderation. Yeah, you know what? You can get into the conversation about alcohol and stuff like that. But things like sitting down and watching a show, things like playing video games, things like eating bad on occasion, those things can absolutely be done in moderation. There's nothing wrong with this, especially if you're a streamer making money from this. I am so glad that Dexter posted this because I could get my 2 cents on there about it. But guys, the conversation doesn't have to end there. I actually ended up taking a deep dive, and if you guys are interested, check out that video. And it is for a Fortnite channel, so be aware if you are going to subscribe. And I don't want you to be a dead sub and just not watch any of my other content, but you're more than welcome to come over to the video. I'll have it in the end screen right now. It's called The Rising Difficulties of Living and Dating as a Gamer. We take a deep dive into this conversation, more so about dating, and my point is articulated perfectly, guys. And funny enough, I stumble over my word when saying articulated. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Take care, everybody.